Well, as you know, I've been in the business for over 40 years, but worked for other money managers and a big institutional firm. And the whole time I was doing that, in the back of my mind, I always had the hankering, just the itch to own my own firm, do it my own way, build it from scratch, and have control over everything. So my business plan, I wanted to go from zero basically to 100 million, and the business plan was for 3 or 4 years. Took 7. Looking back on it, if I did it over again, I probably would have used M&A earlier, because with M&A, we went from 100 million to 200 million in 3 years, half the time. People in our business always say the first 100 million is the hardest, right? Trying to get something going from scratch. And then the great news is after we were acquired, it took only 2 years to go from 200 million to 300 million, because all the tasks that I was bad at and my partners had to do, like operations, trading, compliance, legal, all those necessary functions, once we were acquired, we didn't have to put up with any of that. We didn't have to, we totally leveraged our time to pay attention to the clients, onboard new clients, and do what we loved and what we were good at, making sure the clients were taken care of. So, but it started out with me always wanting to have my own shop, own my own firm, so.
But you allowed your business to be acquired in order for bigger business.
We did, and so FP really helped us along the way for a long time. I mean, we were just a valuation client for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. And so the benefit there is every year we got the valuation. Sometimes it didn't change that much, but it forced the partners to get in a conference room every year, and we talked about, are we growing too fast? We need to bring on more people. We're growing too slow, and come up with massage the business plan for the new year. And the valuation from FP was the talking point that got us in the room to get us to reflect on all of that.
For us, non-advocacy means that we get to be the quarterback. We get to come into the transaction and help facilitate the transaction, for both parties. We're not there advocating for the buyer to the detriment of the seller, and we're not advocating for the seller to the detriment of the buyer. We're there to get a fair deal in place for both parties. And the reason that works in this space is because this is a service industry. These are client relationships that are being transitioned from one firm to another. So both the buyer and seller need to get through this process relatively unscathed. It can't be adversarial in nature, because you can't go through an adversarial process and then try to transition these client relationships over to a firm that you have disdain about. It doesn't work that way in this industry. So we come in and we approach it through this non-adversarial process. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be bumps in the road or hurdles to navigate and overcome, or disagreements through the process. But it means we're there to work with both parties to overcome those challenges or navigate those hurdles or those disagreements to an outcome that is successful for both the buyer and the seller.
So I got to go from working 70 hours a week to 35 hours a week the last two years, right? I got to go from taking all the risk of running a business, compliance, legal, operations, all of that. And I got to do what we originally got in the business for, was, like I said, take care of our clients. And the referrals just exploded, which is how we kept growing. So sell and stay, I would recommend that for anybody that can do that, right? I think it's better for everyone, I really do. A buyer, seller, and most importantly, it's better for the client. It's also most important for your staff that stays, that you not leave and walk right out the door, that if you stay, the continuity of that. And I'm a huge believer in it, and I would highly recommend it.